Hey, Bud getting a little. Hey, listen, Bud getting a little out of hand, man. Listen, Bud Crawford, Terrence Bud Crawford is drunk. Bud Crawford is drunk off greatness, bro. Bud drunk off success, and Bud is drunk off greatness right now, bro. Yeah. He ain't with none of that real humble shit right now. he, he was real humble at the post presser. But he drunk off of that greatness right now, man. And I know it's got to feel good for Bud to be on top. I know he feeling good. Listen, it was a long time coming for Bud Crawford. And I do believe he has the skill and the ability to back up all of the arrogant shit he might do from here forward for sure. But he drunk with greatness, man. Let's talk about it. What up, YouTube? Big T.O. Heavy Bad Boxing TV, man. Get your goofy looking ass in here and hit the bag, hit that like button for your boy. That helps the channel. You know, I appreciate that love. Shout out my gang, my bag hitters. Y'all know the count, man. Love y'all to death. All right, Bud Crawford on these cats next, man. And I don't blame him, because see what y'all fail to realize. Y'all don't remember Bud when Bud used to have the locks and shit. Like, y'all don't remember the young Bud, right? Y'all don't remember when Bud was really coming up. And he got to the point where he was literally trying to fight everybody. He was calling out everybody. And when he moved up, especially when he moved up to 47, he wanted to smoke. Nobody would give Bud Crawford the time of day. And what I do want Bud to realize is he's got to realize that those guys wasn't in control of their futures like that, bro. You know, they was signed fighters, and they fought who those people put in front of them, who Al Heyman put in front of them. And see, it's different. It's different when Earl Spence say he'd never fight Keith Thurman, because they was on the same side of the street. You know what I'm saying? Somehow, some way, Keith Thurman managed to avoid a fighter who they both had the same damn manager. You know what I mean? So I get that. But Bud is saying he not rocking with Danny Garcia, and he not rocking with Keith Thurman. They can keep fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? He basically saying, nah, neither one of y'all can get a fight. Because when I was looking to fight the best out there, y'all was title holders at the time. Y'all was supposed to be the best at the time. Nobody was giving me a second look. And I get it. It's, you know, I think it's good to have that kind of chip on your shoulder, because I think having that kind of chip on the shoulder helped him and is partially responsible for the success that he sees today, on top of a whole lot of goddamn skills for sure. But at some point, I feel like you got to let that go. You know what I mean? I think you got to show him how to move. You know what I mean? If you believe that there are big fights to be made with a Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman, you show the youngins like, hey, when you get in position and you know what I mean, you call the shots, this is how you supposed to carry it. You know, because if everybody holds on to that attitude, we'll miss out on a lot of great fights. I really did want to see Earl Spence versus Keith Thurman. You know, and shame on Keith Thurman for moving the way he did. But, you know, I just don't believe that attitude deserves the same in return, you know, especially if you always on a quest to prove that you're the best in the sport. That's my 2 cents on it anyway. But listen, this is what Bud Crawford had to say about Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. He says, quote, my, how the tables have turned. Danny Garcia, you and Keith Thurman will never, and I mean never, get a shot at the top dog, and that's me. Y'all hoe asses didn't want no smoke when I wanted to fight. Remember? Now y'all want to fight so bad. Keep fighting each other like before. End quote. That nigga sound bitter. And like I say again, you can never tell somebody how to react. But I get it. You know what I mean? That's a huge chip on your shoulder. You got to understand. Listen, Keith Thurman was that nigga. Then he had became a unified champ. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of clout around Keith Thurman's name before he made that Pacquiao fight. And after he made that Pacquiao fight, he could have fought Pacquiao and came back and fought somebody like a Bud Crawford if he still really wanted to make a big statement in the sport of boxing. Same goes for Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia, whom fought Keith Thurman, by the way, could have came off of that Keith Thurman fight and fought somebody like a Bud Crawford. They both, made their excuses as to why they didn't want to fight Bud Crawford at the time. And unfortunately for them, he remembers. And it appears he remembers vividly, nigga. He not going to let him off the hook. A lot like Earl Spence said, he would never fight Keith Thurman, and he's never let him off the hook. And again, I just say, keep in mind the fight fans, the people, us, the niggas that pay y'all's bills. We get it. We understand the chips. We understand the grudges. You know what I'm saying? But some of these matchups, boy, I would love to see. And even though, Keith Thurman's star has diminished, even though Keith Thurman potentially could be a shell of what he used to be, you don't know because he just doesn't fight enough. He could. I always thought Keith had skills, man. Even though he lost to the old Pac-Man, I still would have liked to see how he matched up stylistically versus Earl Spence Jr. You know what I mean? I do believe Keith Thurman has a bag. You know what I mean? Same with Danny Garcia at 54. If, let's just say this rematch where Earl Spence don't go through, which I kind of feel like it might. Y'all think I'm bullshitting, but this rematch just might not happen. All right, and hypothetically speaking, let's say it does. I mean, it doesn't. And there's nothing else out there for Bud Crawford. I would love to see him and Danny Garcia at 54, bro. If you really going up to 54, right? If there's no Earl Spence and there's no Canelo Alvarez and no Jamel Charlo, I would love to see what that Danny Garcia. I rocks with Danny. Danny's I felt like was always a great fighter. I would love to see how that style matches up. You know what I mean? We seen Danny versus Earl, and we seen Danny versus a Keith Thurman. How about a Danny versus Bud Crawford? You know what I mean? I would like to see a Bud Crawford versus a Keith Thurman. If Keith wanted to go to 154, or if Bud wanted to defend at 47. Those are really good fights to me, you know what I mean? And I think to a lot of other people. I think it's the consensus amongst hardcore fight fans who love the sport of boxing and want to see good fights. I think we all think those are good matchups, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man. But I ain't mad at Bud, man. I ain't mad at Bud. Like he say, he the top dog, and he gets to fight who he wants to fight. He's already let us know that he don't give a damn about what we think from here moving forward. He don't give a damn about what we think or how we feel. He's earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants to do. And that's the truth. You know what I mean? He got that clout. It is what it is. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that those would be great fights that you would like to see Bud Crawford in against Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia, especially if nothing's on the table and hypothetically speaking, he doesn't do the rematch with Earl Spence, or Earl Spence somehow pulls out of this rematch? And what does that say about, what we're we because you got to think about the youth coming up behind you guys. You know what I'm saying? You want to set examples. You want to be the guy that's not going to hold grudges and make the great fights and want to have a bunch of the great fighters on your resume at the end of the day. All right, man. That's my 2 cents, man. That's all I got for y'all, man. Big T.O. Heavy Bag. Talk to him, Roger.
Most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing.